that looks like this, all right? You'll see at the very top a sort of a graph. And in this graph, we start out with the very first phase, which is the appetitive phase. The appetitive phase simply refers to the interest or desire in having sex. Yes, sex requires a certain appetite for it. Eating requires a certain appetite for it. Drinking requires a certain appetite for it too. So if you don't have the appetite, then the rest is irrelevant. Now, from the appetitive phase, we go on to a next phase called excitement. Now, this is where, as you can see in your graph, the physiological arousal increases very steeply. And I would say psychological arousal too. So on the y-axis, we're calling it arousal. By arousal, I really mean not just physical, but also psychological arousal. Goes up very quickly during the excitement phase. And then from the excitement phase, the person enters a plateau. Doesn't go back down, but just stays on an even plateau, remaining aroused, before the big jump to a climax that we call orgasm. And as with any climax, if you go up, so must you come down. So as you come down, that's what we call the resolution phase. And from the resolution phase, this isn't shown in your workbook perhaps, but I've just added this in this afternoon actually. From the resolution phase, it's important to note something else called the refractory phase. Now, the refractory phase is simply the interval between one bout of sexual arousal or orgasm and the next orgasm. And the point I'd like to make here is there's a gap of time between the resolution of one orgasm and the ability to have another peak experience. And that resolution phase in women actually, so let's take this as the example of the refractory period over for women. That resolution phase is relatively quick. The refractory phase is relatively short for women who can have the next orgasm within 2 minutes, right? However, for men, that refractory period is much longer, and it may take 2 hours before the male is able to have another orgasm.